I'm actually Development Director at BAA. I'm going to open up and talk a little bit about design and development and in fact innovation at Heathrow. So our current strategy is to become Europe's hub of choice, very simply, and there's a nice picture of Terminal 2 to get things moving. Heathrow in 2009, so a couple of years ago we'd opened T5, it had been open for a year or so, and we were building at that stage a second satellite for T5, T5C, and we were starting to think about T2. And what you'll see slowly as we go through these couple of slides is what we're doing is trying to get all the buildings at Heathrow perpendicular to the runways. So there's 2 runways at Heathrow at the moment, and the buildings will ultimately in about 20 years' time become more perpendicular to the runways. So in 2013 we will look like that. So in 2013 T2, and the big long satellite on the right hand side of the slide will be complete and ready to be opened in 2014. We've also completed T5C, so you can see there's 2 satellites for Terminal 5 now, and we're edging in from both ends towards the central terminal area to make it a more efficient airfield. It's all about the airfield, it's all about getting planes from the runway to the stand as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, and aeroplanes from the stands to the runways, so that we can use the runways as efficiently as possible and we can use the space we have, the concrete. And in doing this, we're moving airlines around Heathrow. We've moved 50 odd airlines in the last 3 years. The first one was British Airways into Terminal 5, and lots of others have moved, and the aim of this is to get the 3 airline groups, alliances, in touching distance of each other. And so our aim is to get them together so that you can get quicker transfers within your alliance if you're travelling with an alliance. Just a few facts and figures. We transfer about 30 to 40% of Heathrow's traffic just transfers. That means they don't come landside, they just go through the airport and out again. The rationale of that is if you get transfer traffic, we can then go to more destinations. So direct passengers then have the opportunity to go to more places. And we currently serve 170 odd destinations at Heathrow. The expansion at Heathrow is very difficult at the moment. Many of you know our runways are 98-99% full. We have only enough concrete on the ground to deal with the number of planes that come each day. We have terminal capacity spare, but we don't have runway or in fact taxiway and stand capacity. So there are clever ways we're looking at where potentially we could use our 2 runways harder, and potentially we would still like to consider a 3rd runway at Heathrow. And the government, as you know, is creating its new aviation policy at the moment, and we're very keen that they look at this in as broad a way as they possibly can to enable a proper choice to be made over the next few years. Because ultimately we're in competition. We're in competition with the Northern European hubs, so Heathrow, Amsterdam, Paris, Madrid and Frankfurt are the key hubs that compete in Europe, but there's also more competition now coming from the Middle East. As you'll be aware, there's a huge hub in Doha, there will be one soon in Doha, and also in Abu Dhabi. And the Asian hubs are already there with Hong Kong and Singapore, and the American hubs are there. So there's a massive amount of competition, and this is all about the UK not getting behind. It's really important that we continue to grow as a hub, and there's only one hub airport in the UK, that's Heathrow. So, that's a bit about strategy. I'm now going to just do a little piece on Terminal 2, which is our grand programme of works that's going on at Heathrow. And so Joanne will talk more about this afternoon. There is a picture of the building site. That's the big new building, Terminal 2, which will house Star Alliance. There are about 18 airlines will move into this terminal in 2014. So it's quite a job in its own right, actually, to plan to make that to happen. And that planning is going on as we speak. I mean, ultimately, when Terminal 2 is complete, Terminal 1 will then shut, and then we'll move on and work on how we shut Terminals 3 and Terminal 4 ultimately. This is a lot of work that we're doing now at BAA to ensure that as a construction and delivery team, we understand what, in fact, business benefits we are going to deliver. So it's critical for our business that they understand what we're doing with these projects. In the past, to some extent, we've just got on and delivered projects, done them very well to time, cost, safety, quality, but really what we're about is delivering benefits into the business. And we're only successful if these great buildings and projects deliver benefits for 20, 30, 40 years. So we're spending a lot more time now working out what our business benefits are, working out who's sponsoring each program, each project from within the business, who's looking at business change as well. Because again, in the past, we have built great things and not necessarily used them to their fullest extent. And this is a really important move on now to understand what business benefits are and how, in fact, programs of projects can deliver more benefits than just the projects on their own. It's the passenger that's the most important thing we should worry about. So anything we should do, we should think back to the passenger. So everything we do now, we've got to think about what it does to the passenger. Does it improve their experience? Does it speed their experience up? Does it help them, find their way around the airport? And we build up these passenger experience horseshoes, which is your whole journey from when you're actually driving or coming by train to Heathrow and when you go away at the end and all that happens in between. And this shows what we're expecting the passenger journey to be in Terminal 2 when it's live, which is mainly green, which is good. A few yellow areas we're still working on to ensure that the passenger experience is of a very high standard. There's a whole energy strategy which involves building a new energy centre, and that energy centre is partially powered by completely sustainable sources. So we will be burning wood chips to provide 20% of the energy for the new Terminal 2. I'm now going to talk a little bit about another very exciting project, which is called Terminal 3 Integrated Baggage. And this will see a sea change at Heathrow from where there's lots of manual handling in our baggage facilities to a point where we're going to reduce manual handling considerably and start to introduce things like manual handling aids and in fact robots into the system. So what is T3IB? This is going to be a state-of-the-art, fully integrated baggage system. So all the baggage will go on in this T3IB building. And so direct and transfer bags processed in the same facility. Also, there's a direct connection between T3IB and T5. So there's a tunnel that's been bored between T3 and T5 so that bags can be transferred on machines from one to the other. So One World, who are operating on T5 and T3, have then got their baggage system tied together to reduce transfer times. So the benefits, I always come back to the business benefits. We're going to consolidate the system, reduce costs, end-to-end OPEX costs, and a massively improved working environment for staff, and improve health and safety arrangements through use of, in fact, automated, which is the which build cells which will have actual robots in them, and then semi-automated build cells. I'm just going to now move on to a bit about automation, and then I'll finish, and I'm very happy to take questions. So this is around the passenger journey, and do you want, as a passenger, do you prefer to be talked to, or do you just want to go through quickly? And some people just want to go through the airport really fast. You're a business person, off you go, you don't want to see the airport really. All you want to do is get on the plane, get into that business meeting in Frankfurt or whatever, and if you can get automation, it's what you want. If you're there with your family, maybe you don't. Maybe you want choice. Maybe you want to talk to people, etc. So we're looking at the moment and offering more choice from an automation point of view. Won't go through all of this, but there are benefits. Passenger experience, potentially you can go through faster if you want to. Ensuring we become the in fact hub of choice, so we get better punctuality, we know where people are, we'll be able to track people through the airport, those sorts of things. And also we'll bring in new and modern equipment. Potentially you can create space by using automation. Better resource utilisation. We don't necessarily say here we want to use less people, but we want to potentially use people in different ways. We want people to help people rather than just stand there and do sort of security and things. There's some guiding principles as to how we do this, and this is about choice. We want to actually empower the passengers, not necessarily to tell them what they've got to do. So they've got a choice whether they can go through the lane where they can talk to somebody, or you go through the lane where it's all automatic. Really important, and we're going to start trialling, or we are already trialling some of these things already. And we have a map, which is our star diagram, which shows all the areas where we want to, in fact, automate the process. And this varies from, things like, kiosks to give you more information, automatic ticket presentation, self-bag drop, automatic boarding, ACS, which is coming through, in fact, immigration, self-immigration. So there's an enormous amount on this agenda, and this is where we are today. The green are things we've already achieved today, the purple are the ones we're working on and trialling, and the white ones are still just ideas, if you like. And this is going to be a programme of works which we're going to develop and push through over the next 5 years or so. So, there we are, it's a quick run through, very quick run through. Bit of strategy, bit of T2, very exciting big programme. Bit of T3 integrated baggage, which is a game changer definitely for us at Heathrow. And a bit about automation, which is the game changer that's coming over the next 5 to 10 years.
With the completion of T2A and all the other works that are around it, what does that do to the passenger numbers for Heathrow in 2014? Right.
Just to be absolutely clear, Nigel, T2 is not there for growth. It's to actually, it's a new building making way, being built because there's an old building there. So we've demolished Terminal 2, and so T2 will provide the same capacity, if you like, as was going to be anyway. So growth's always been coming at Heathrow since the Terminal 5 public inquiry. So the public inquiry Terminal 5 was based around 90 million passengers going through Heathrow as a 2-runway facility. At the moment, we're going to do nearly 70 million passengers this year. At the moment, the prediction is we're going to be 30,000 under 70 million. So you can, anyone's guess, So we've grown from 68.7, I think, to 70 million this year. We are anticipating that sort of scale of growth over the next few years, and we're looking towards a 2-runway master plan that can accommodate up to 90 million passengers. But you wouldn't see those 90, it'll be quite steady growth, will come over the next 10, 20 years. And most of the growth comes through bigger planes and having more people on the planes. So there are big planes coming already. I think 3 or 4 airlines are landing the big, in fact, A380s at Heathrow. British Airways will have 8 A380s operating out of Heathrow in 2013. That'll make a huge difference. And also, some airlines are very good at filling up their planes. They get, load factors of 90%, and others have much lower load factors. And so, in fact, the question Peter asked is interesting around that, because BMI have quite low load factors at the moment. So if BMI get purchased by somebody who can then fill the planes up a bit more, that sort of brings the growth. So we're expecting steady growth over the next few years. So by 2014, my question was, we will have grown hopefully by about 7-8%. So we'll be up to sort of 75 million. That's where we'd like to be in 3 or 4 years' time. Good. Well, thank you all very much. Thanks for coming to one of the first chats at the infrastructure show this year, and thank you very much.